Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at patreon.com/inspired disorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Scream 3! What should be the trilogy of horror films. The third installment in the Scream franchise, directed again by I was going to say Wes Anderson, Wes Craven, the other Wes. It's still good. I enjoyed the second one. It was, the whole stage being on a stage and things going ahead. Okay. The Timothy Oliphant doing the Matthew Lillard impersonation, being like 20 years older than that. Okay. Not the best. This one, still interesting, still has all the same meta stuff. A lot of this is taking place during production of Stab 3. So, the Scream and Stab franchises have caught up to each other. The Stab franchise obviously being the movie franchise that was birthed from the novel written by Gale Weathers of the events of the first one. So this one, you have a giant soundstage with a complete recreation of the Woodsboro city, all the different houses and stuff. You have actors playing all of the different, other actors that were from the first one. So you're having the same meta. There's a lot of Friends references. There's a point where Gale Weathers is like, everybody is like looking for her or whatever, and she has a like, could I be more popular? Basically a line that Chandler Bing would say. Like, there's so many references to Friends. I think one of them, Schwimmer, was supposed to be, or was at one point part of the Stab franchise. Just a lot of Friends references. But it starts off Cotton Weary. He's a famous. He's using his fame now. He's got a talk show, like a daytime talk show. He's trying to get movie roles and TV roles. He's trying to be an actor. But he's also one of the first victims of this. And also what they did with this, the one thing, like, I love all the meta stuff. All the references are great. The thing that really hurts this film is the voice modulator that has been used in the past episodes. All do the same voice. They're all by Roger Jackson. Does the voice of the killer. But in this one, somehow, the voice modulator has the ability to replicate literally every voice, even people that have been dead for over a decade, which, as an audience member, we've never heard the voice of Sid's mom, but somehow this voice modulator is able to replicate Sid's mom's voice. It's able to replicate Cotton's voice. It's able to replicate all of the different. It's basically like the little thing that they do on the Mission Impossible, where they put that throat Band-Aid on and it changes your voice. But at least on that one, you see that they have to like train it. You got to read a paragraph for it to work right. Like, this requires no programming whatsoever because the mom's voice is somehow programmed into it, right? This technology that probably wouldn't have existed when she was alive somehow is able to perfectly replicate her voice. That's my main problem with this. Everything else I kind of like. It's not the greatest story. I mean, we know what's happening. There's people are getting killed. Who's the killer? I don't know. This one, it seems to be following the production or the murders that happen in the Stab movie. But even that gets thrown out. They're like, well, we did multiple. There's multiple endings depending on who got the script, which I think was an actual thing that started with the Scream franchise. I want to say. I know there's been other other movies that are very protective over their scripts and will have alternate endings and scripts and things, and will even shoot alternate endings knowing that they won't be in the final movie. just to throw people off. So, even though, I mean, pretty much once we find out that the killer is following the kill order in the first movie, which is also kind of a similar reference to Final Destination. Once we find that out, we also find out that, it's not going in that order anymore because of this thing. But it's funny because you have, multiples of characters. You have the actress playing Sid, and then you have Sid. You have Gale, the two Gales, which I think Parker Posey is doing the best. Like, it is goofy as fuck. But I'm here for it. I really enjoyed it. I mean, the campiness of it, the ridiculousness of the fact that everything is so meta in this franchise, which I'm really interested to see what happens in the fourth film. Because even in this film, you see Randy's sister, who's just, because Randy's dead. He died in the last one. But we got to have Randy back because Randy's the guy that tells everybody the rules. So how do we do that? Well, we have his sister, who's never been mentioned before. We've never seen her before, but she exists now. And she brings a cassette tape that, of course, Randy recorded before he died, which is the best time to record. But it was knowing that he could potentially die. And that, if you see this, then you have to know that there's possibly a third movie. And this is what happens in trilogies, which is different than sequels. But then the franchise doesn't end up being a trilogy because there's Scream 4 and then there's a new Scream that's supposed to be coming out, I think, this year. But at that point, trilogy. Because everything was trilogy at that point. Trilogies were the new hot thing. When this movie came out, came out in 2000. So this is 3 years after. So they did, I think it was 96, 97 were the first Screams, and then 2000. So it jumped 3 years. And it was probably, you got 1999, you got the Star Wars prequels, trilogy of prequels coming out. So it was hot, You got eventually, I think Lord of the Rings comes out pretty soon after that. A few years later, you got the trilogy of Lord of the Rings. Trilogies were hot. So I think they were kind of riding that hotness of trilogies for this movie. So Cotton's famous. Sid is secluded out in this big house out in the middle of nowhere, security system, and apparently her only job is being a crisis counselor over the phone. So she works from home but still makes enough money to afford a really nice house with a security system. That was okay, whatever. I guess we're along for the ride on that one. Let's see. We got Dewey is now a technical assistant for the Stab franchise. So when they all go, Gail's trying to find out what's Gail's finding. She goes to visit, and then Stewie's there, and they had a big breakup. Dewey is seemingly kind of dating Parker Posey, who's Gail's the person playing Gale. So they're kind of not really, but they're kind of I don't know. She's using Dewey to find out more about Gale for her character. But Parker Posey's super goofy. And I love it. I really enjoyed it because it brings a lot of humor to an already pretty ridiculous movie franchise. I mean, the fact that they're still packing in all the references and all the meta context of it. I mean, the first one, it was horror movies in general. The second one's kind of an homage to the different types of horror theater that you can attend, movie theater screenings, actual plays. And then this one is like the actual production studio. And it refers to also, which I found to be interesting, in a movie made in 21 years ago, how openly they discuss Hollywood producers sexually assaulting women and actresses to get roles. There's actresses in this that that say that regrettably wish they had never fucked the producer to get the role because now she's gonna die. Like that's how openly known sexual assault was in Hollywood, that it was part of like offhanded remarks made by people in this very meta context. Interesting. A little over 4 years ago, I started The Many Faces. It's an ongoing series of abstract ink portraits. Each piece is improvised. Each piece is released daily. Start collecting now. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/TMF. That stands for The Many Faces. And save yourself 25% when you use coupon code RTS. That stands for The Ray Taylor Show, because that's what you're listening to, and I love you. So I want you to save 25% when you use that coupon code. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/TMF and use coupon code RTS to save 25% when you start collecting one of over 1,600 original ink paintings. By myself, I made them. Support me. I love you. Back to the show. Weird cameos, Jay and Silent Bob. Out of all the cameos, I guess, maybe Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back were around that time. They're on some Hollywood set, studio set. They're on some studio lot. So yeah, they're gonna, cameos, great time for cameos. But Jay and Silent Bob, weird cameo that Jay and Silent Bob are in the Scream universe. You have Patrick Warburton playing Gail. Well, not Gail, but Parker Posey's bodyguard. Well, her character name's not Parker Posey. What is her character name? She's basically Gail too. But see, Parker Posey's character name is, where is Parker Posey on this list here? There, Parker Posey. Jennifer Jolly. She's very jolly. So Patrick Warburton plays her security guard, which is fun. I love seeing that guy and stuff. He's got a funny voice. He's built like a big security guard guy, but it doesn't last long for him. Dewey lives in a trailer on the same lot as on the same property as what's her face? Jennifer, Parker Posey's character. There's a fun scene where the Gales team up. They're being chased. Like, this movie's like, the first third is like set up. Like, how are we explaining all of this happening again, kind of thing. And then it just gets to people running and trying to survive. And then the last part is like the reveal of who actually did it, because it's very much like a whodunit, but not as well written as like a Rian Johnson whodunit. It's not like Knives Out level whodunit, but there's always that level of whodunit. And the thing with horror movies is that you can just make anybody do it, and it doesn't really have to make sense. Like, even in Randy's explanation of trilogies is that, like, there's going to be characters thrown at you that you never heard of, but they're going to be part of this grand story. But it's fun. You get to see the two Gales kind of on their mystery hunt. They could do a movie of just Jennifer Jolly and Gale Weathers, the two Gales, and that would be amazing. Because Parker Posey is playing like the goof, like the funniest, like so over the top, which is such a horror way to be over the top. The acting she's doing is so like B horror movie, like, which I'm sure is on purpose. I'm sure there was an aspect of that performance choice to be somewhat of an homage to the Scream Queens, who were very much over the top and like just kind of gangly weirdness. But the two Gales aspect is fun. Sid, when Sid meets Sid, and then you think maybe the other Sid, the actress playing Sid, is the killer because she's obsessed with Sid. She studied Sid for her role, as all these actors seem to be very passionate about their studying of roles, like Drew Barrymore. So in the moment, actually dialing 911 during her small scene in the first one. Just so meta, just so method, I should say. All these actors really doing their homework. But that's where you see Sid kind of, the actress playing her drops her brush, and Sid like tries to chase her down. She ends up on set of Stab 3, which is a recreation of her hometown. Which is a crazy meta way to have those characters go back. And it's like her room's exactly the same, the house is exactly the same. Like a room, she puts the doors together so the door handles kind of force it to lock so nobody can come in. Which is cool. It's cool, You get to see her like she's a pretty badass person, but being put back in her hometown and like craziness happening, being chased down again, it makes it plausible why she'd be freaking out. She has her pepper spray on the go. I don't know if she ever pushed the pepper spray button. Come to think about it, I don't think she ever got a chance to use the pepper spray. But she has it. She seems ready to go. I mean, there's a point in the they all go, the movie's been canceled. Studio's shut down. They go have a movie night at the director's house, I think. Somebody's house. I'm pretty sure it's the director's house, which his house is a place he's staying in. I think it's his house. I don't know. Mansion, big house. But there's a point where she's like, she wants the masked killer to chase after her. She's like, well, I've done this before. So she's a badass. But the end was, they throw the character in. It was kind of interesting. Apparently she had a twin. So spoilers. And the twin wrote a movie, and that's what the movie was based on. But he wasn't the killer. No, but spoilers for sure, I guess, if you haven't seen a movie from 21 years ago. The third in a franchise that it kind of fell off towards the third one. I still enjoyed it as a movie franchise. Horror movie franchises, they go downhill fast. And this one maintains pretty solid. The meta stuff can be kind of exhausting, but also fun. I think that, they lean into the humor of it all. But it's her long lost brother who's the director, and he has like footage of like her mom going to cheat on her husband, on Sid's dad. And like he showed up at one point, and her mom just told him to leave. I forget why he was banished at first. Don't really remember. Didn't really matter because it was like, okay. I mean, they could have just any character that could plausibly be the villain in this, just write him a backstory that explains it. So, okay. But yeah, it's fine. It's not great. As a trilogy, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun moments. I really do enjoy Parker Posey in this, but I could see how that would be the thing people hate the most because it's like so over the top. But I always loved it. I was having so much fun. You have Jenny McCarthy playing another one of she plays, I think, the girl who gets caught in the doggy door. I think that's who she's playing from the first one. And there's a scene where she's going through like a wardrobe room, and then there's just racks upon racks of the masked villain costume. Kind of fun. The voice modulator thing, that's the thing that bugged me the most. Give me Parker Posey all day. Even the whatever, the long lost brother thing, whatever. But this voice modulator, you figured out how to replicate a voice of a person that died forever ago. Effortless, and all of these voices. It only had a few buttons on it. It's 2000. This is like pre-smartphone. That was my big thing. But the movie ends. Sid is back at her, house, giant house. All of her friends are over. They're having a movie night, which I enjoy the culture of, I never had, I think it would be fun to have a group of friends that got together for movie nights like that. I think that would be fun. I've had that, working at a movie theater, but not since, my early 20s that I have movie. I mean, I guess kind of through my early 20s, but I mean, yeah, kind of fun. So she's having a movie night. She doesn't put in the code when she comes in. The door even blows open, right? She's going in. The door blows open. She looks at the door. And then she looks away and just goes into the room with her friends. Doesn't even care. Doesn't even care that the door's open. Symbolically, okay, sure. She's overcome her fear. But still, you close a door. You have a dog. There's wild animals outside. What are you, asking for, rodents to come inside? Now you go and close the door. You don't leave the door open. Oh, scary doors that blow open. I'm no longer scared of you. You're going to have to try a lot harder to get me. But whatever. Horror movies. That's the thing. As far as bad horror movies go, it's not even close to as bad as they can get. The fact that they have the cast coming back for all of them is so rare in so many horror movies. To be able to have cohesive, not only a mildly cohesive overarching story, but also being able to put in so much meta context to it that you don't need to know to watch or enjoy this movie. But if you do get all the references, it adds fun moments to it. So not horrible. Scream 3. Not horrible. It's pretty okay. I have seen Scream 3, so I had seen all three of these movies. I have never seen Scream 4. Scream 4, I think, came out 2011, I think. I think it has Neve Campbell in it. I think it's got Courtney Cox in it. Don't know. Don't know about it. Probably Dewey's in it, right? Steve Arquette? Is that his name? It's not Steve Arquette. What's his name? What's your name, dude? David Arquette. Steve Arquette? Oh, what is wrong with me? David Arquette, I'm sure, is in it. He survives again. His gimp arm he's got more of a limp in this one. He doesn't have the gimp arm. It is a limp now. And it's kind of funny. He runs with the limp. I enjoy it. I like Dewey. I like Dewey and Gale's thing. They're off again, on again. It's just like a side thing. It's not a big thing, but I enjoy it. There seems obviously real connection there because they ended up marrying each other. Wasn't half bad. So check out Scream 3 if you haven't. And I spoiled it, but it doesn't matter. Maybe you'll forget. Maybe I was lying. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/Inspired Disorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!